hides behind the cross. All that glitters is not gold. A dictator hides behind democracy. Freedom comes only from the soul. Behold, in the distance, the golden serpent slithers out of its hiding place with grace. The sweet taste on its forked tongue of freedom's distant march of boot embrace. The ground quakes, twigs break as unified boots advance, not by chance, agitating the cadence of nature's dance. The clamor of feet approaches, stirs rabbits to roaches, as the serpent lays in wait for its chance to feast. Slowly it encroaches.
Look how beautiful.
Oh my God! What do you think?
I think we couldn't afford to rent a closet in this place.
Good afternoon. The resident manager handles the day-to-day running of the Drake apartments.
Are you sure this is our apartment? Yeah, it comes with the job. What happened to the previous manager?
Yeah, why would anybody ever want to leave this?
Mr. Hartwell moved someplace warmer.
Now sign the contracts and get out of here. You got a lot of work to do.
The Drake.
It's a friendly building.
But don't let the amenities fool you.
I like a spirit.
She's how we get Henry.
It's not right what you do.
What I do is fulfill needs. We all want something. It's the essential truth of who we are. Now it's time to settle up.
This place seems so dark.
You shouldn't have come here. They're never gonna let you go.
Henry. Are we gonna be okay here?
Lucifer, son of the morning, I'm gonna chase you out of earth.
I remember back in 2016 doing some research on candidate Trump and coming across this building with the unmistakable address in New York, which at the time was listed as the most expensive real estate purchase in history. And it was currently owned by Jared Kushner and his wife, Ivanka Trump. So immediately I assumed Trump must be a silent partner, or at best be aware. I took a look at the building on Google Street View and noticed immediately that the building was by no means the largest or grandest in New York. In fact, it seemed to me that there was no way a 41-story building could be the most expensive purchase in history, and assumed there had to be something deeper to it. On Street View, I looked inside and around the building and noticed a human-sized golden statue that on Street View was placed in front of the building. I had never seen the statue before, so I stared at it for a few seconds, and just like a revelation, I don't know, the thought just came to my mind exactly stated as golden statue of Lucifer fallen. I typed that into Google, and the screen was filled with images of the same statue, so I knew the thought or the inspiration was correct. I took screenshots and immediately started trying to warn, everyone I could, in real life and online, about Trump's familial association with the building. I left comments everywhere, but in less than 2 weeks I went to look at the Street View again and realized Google had completely removed that view of the building. Now in Street View would completely skip over that entire side of the building and zoom across to the next building over. I searched for golden statue of Lucifer and found only 1 or 2 images now, way down in the image results. Went back and searched for my comments and realized I couldn't find them on YouTube and Facebook anymore. That was the revelation to me that Trump was meant to win. Jugu could have ended his political career right there with that information I was spreading on their platform. But instead, they chose to shadow ban me and remove the Street View and image results. But I still had my screenshots, and of course it came as no surprise to me finding out not long after that his entire cabinet was filled with Zionists. I told every Trump supporter I met along the way, especially the religious, supposedly religious ones, that their new hero, just like George Bush, was a Sith or just another Bohemian Grove necromonger for money. Anyway, just a little lost history that hopefully doesn't get trapped down the memory hole. What happens to a man who lays in a coffin or sarcophagus with the skeleton of a deceased person as an initiation rite? What about a man who swears allegiance over all else upon the knowledge of pain of torturous death to an organization or cult, especially one with the name and moniker of Skull and Bones, the very symbol of pain, hazard, destruction, and death, or Illuminati, which literally translated from Latin actually means no light or darkness? Wouldn't such a man invite demons, or perhaps the very devil itself, to take harbor, manifest, and be birthed into the dock of his spirit or soul? What would engender a man to take such oaths, to swear such allegiances? Is it money? Is it the salve of promised power and privilege as opposed to the salve of promised salvation fed to the proletariat or pros? Is it perhaps simply an emergent, base, and animalistic worldview that survival should only be granted to the fittest or the most cunning? Of course, such organizations can always appear to be the fittest because they are willing to resort to any means, including genocide, to consolidate and acquire power. And they have survived and even thrived for so long, right? Does it simply represent a hidden or repressed desire and yearning for the macabre and mystically dark that all or most humans have tendencies towards? With these men simply being chosen by an already established and powerful order, which the rest of us, given the choice and possibilities, would also succumb to and then willingly follow? Why do men separate themselves from the general social fabric, placing themselves and their progeny at the highest ranks of the social order, reserving the right to resort to any means necessary to protect that position where the choices can only amount to the lesser of evils? As Solon, JFK, and Bob Marley said, what does it really profit someone to gain the world but lose their soul?
Magic City in the sun has the darkness on the run. It's growing bright, the city, light the city, right the city now. We're going to chase the shadows, erase the shadows from our city now. All that stood is falling fast, we're removing from the past. It's growing bright, the city, light the city, right the city now. We're going to chase the shadows, erase the shadows, no more shadows now. We'll take a city block and tear it down. We'll put a new skyscraper in the ground.
Hey, who's that? Aluminum workers in Louisville.
Oh, thanks, Mr. DeSimone.
You know, this building was built all over the country.
Places like Chicago, Detroit, Bethlehem, Portland.
Hey, what, dames?
Sure, Murphy. A lot of women helped on this one. Contractors came in with their estimates. Subcontractors for every single part of the job.
Then it was time for some choices. What kind of interiors? Samples. What kind of exteriors? Every detail was worked out to the decimal before you men ever heard of the job. Then the old buildings were torn down. And one day we began to dig. Boy, that's one big hole.
40 feet deep.
Largest excavation ever dug on Fifth Avenue. You really gotta dig.
You gotta dig way down, 40 feet down. You gotta dig way down below the ground. You gotta blast that bedrock out of your way before you start to climb. You gotta dig that way.
You gotta fill those forms with strong concrete. You gotta put that building on its feet. You gotta pour those columns tall and strong. If you're gonna climb, you gotta fill those forms. It takes a lot of men, a lot of time to put a scraper in the sky.
It takes a lot of men, a lot of time to build up to the sky. It takes a lot of loads, a lot of miles. Put that scraper high. Lot of loads, lot of miles, 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 lot of loads, lot of loads.
And that building came alive. It takes steam valves, steam fitters, air fans, fan makers, water falling elevators, buttons, panels, switchboard, cables, copper buckets, nails, plumbers, plaster trucks, pails, ships, sailors, architects, steel, iron, aluminum, bells, rivets, telephones, drills, wires, engineers, sand painters, blueprints, stone, masons, concrete, glass, gravel, steam shovels, trains, trailers, train men, winches, welders, steel men, drivers, riggers, draftsmen, scrapers, shiners, sanders, sweepers, handlers, holders, mixers, shifters, heavers, fillers, bracers, borers, loaders, lifters, pushers, pullers, pilers, packers, nailers, diggers, builders, busters, boxers, plasters, TNT. So today, 18 months from the time ground was broken, the building opens. More than 2 million people have worked directly or indirectly on it. More than 2,000 men have been involved in the actual job. These people come from every state in the country.
Jared Kushner, his big pet project was that 666 Fifth Avenue, that big office tower. He was going to tear it down, build something new, and he had to do a deal, basically, that gave it away.
Right, and so to give viewers a little background, I mean, this is an iconic building in New York. You know, in a city of iconic buildings, I mean, this is one that people walk along or walk past on Fifth Avenue. There's retail in the bottom, and then it's notably, you know, it's a nice skyscraper and a name that, or an address that is memorable, we should say. They had big plans for it. Jared Kushner's really ambitious project. It did not go the way that they thought it would. They were partnered with Vornado, and now to the rescue, and this, to me, is what's really notable, to the rescue, and probably to the profit of its investors, is Brookfield.
Yeah.
And just as a reminder, Brookfield is one of the probably least appreciated and most powerful investment firms in the entire world. You know, we talk a lot about Blackstone. Brookfield is right there as a real estate manager. Bruce Flatt, the CEO, is incredibly powerful, incredibly influential, and little known.
Before he was a presidential candidate.
I've been saying for years, keep the oil, don't let him have the oil.
Before he was a reality TV star.
You're fired.
Donald Trump was a New York tabloid fixture. All through the 1980s, Trump was busy building something new, and it wasn't a skyscraper.
Billionaire developer Donald Trump has put his name on a New York City hotel, shopping center, and apartment buildings, as well as a casino in Atlantic City. And now he's going to put his name on a big piece of Eastern Airlines.
Trump was creating a public persona, one that could be both funny and demeaning, arrogant and somehow in touch with the common man.
I sort of love and hate him at the same time. I mean, I think he has, a monumental ego.
He comes off as being very, what's the word I'm looking for? Arrogant?
Yeah, he's arrogant.
I like him. The man's got it made, got everything.
He often did this by picking fights.
He said, I think Donald Trump is an artful liar. I think he is a greedy, vicious, and arrogant man.
Well, I don't know, is that supposed to be a compliment or not? I'm not sure.
But the Donald Trump we know today is more than just a boastful brawler. That's because there's one more tactic that Trump apparently learned in the 80s and uses to great effect on the campaign trail today. Keep people guessing about any long-term plans.
Mr. Trump, what's left in your life? You're 33 years old, you're worth all this money. You say you didn't say that you want to be worth $1 billion.
No, I really don't. I just want to keep busy and keep active.
Could $1 billion buy the White House?
What do you think?
Well,
Does
I don't
money
think it
give
can.
you...
I know a lot of the politicians. I like a lot of the politicians. They're friends of mine.
Trump carefully cultivated speculation about his future. In 1987, he ran a full-page ad in major newspapers that read like a political manifesto.
If you didn't know by now, all U.S. presidents are royalty. Descended from royalty, they're all part of the same family. And they only put cousins against each other. So basically, two royal bloodlines compete against each other to be selected in your so-called elections. And you guys keep participating, even though all the evidence is right there on Google and wherever else you want to look. But yeah, they're all cousins, they're all related, and no, you're not related to them. No, they're related to each other. Yeah, they're one bloodline. They all come from Vlad the Impaler and King whoever. King James, maybe. But either way, they're also all Jewish. I'm not sure exactly where that part comes in. I guess it's just a financial thing, but, the bankers for royalty type thing. So it's like a religion for them. But yeah, they're all basically sworn. They have their oath of loyalty that they swear to, their peoples. Nothing to do with you guys.